Hello and welcome to Worship on May the 3rd. It's good to have you with us or with me. And just really a few words again. The sheets here, it's also on the website. Preparation before you start worship. Those readings that are set, there are four. You can pick one or more than one. And you can use these readings during the worship at any point, really. But if you want to do them after the first prayer, when we also have the gospel reading, a very short excerpt of the gospel reading on the sheet, you can do that. To say also, to remind you perhaps that it's good to have something to focus on when you're worshipping, especially if you're by yourself, to maybe place something a bit different as a focal point. I'm suggesting something that reminds you of fellowship. I mean, maybe a picture of some people who you're connected with through the church, or some other sign of fellowship in the church. And then you can light a candle. You can, if you want to, it gives you a point of focus. And as always, once you are kind of ready, I'm suggesting during the Easter season an Alleluia. Actually, maybe you could try a new Alleluia this week. In previous weeks, I'm suggesting a familiar one. Perhaps you could go on the internet now and see whether you can find an Orthodox Alleluia or a Catholic Alleluia, or maybe go on the site of the Taizé community in France and listen to one of their Alleluias, if there are some on there, which I think there probably are. But then when you're ready, you settle down and you sing that Alleluia. You say the call to worship, which comes from our John reading. And then you come to the prayer. Usually we have a prayer of confession at this point in the service, early on. And we do again in this act of worship. It's a very personal one, this one, I think. And it's not particularly giving. I mean, we talk about assurance of forgiveness, and that's really important that you have that at the end of the prayer. Remember that you are forgiven. But I was trying to kind of also connect with the theme for this Sunday, which is more around following Jesus and him leading us into forgiveness, if you want, leading us into being found, leading us on the journey, which is our Christian life. So that's the prayer, then the gospel reading, and really then looking at what I really focus on is how Jesus goes on the journey ahead of us. How does he actually move forward, and what does that mean, and how does it affect us? So I talk a bit about people who've kind of broken through something. And then about Jesus, who of course breaks through the walls of death, the kind of imprisoning nature of death, and leads us into everlasting life. When he says, "I am the way," or "I am the gate," there is a sense in which he's saying that he is the way through the most difficult and challenging places in our lives. Psalm 23 also picks that theme up, doesn't it, when it talks about, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me." And that's the thing. Jesus is with us. Jesus went on that journey, and he went ahead of us, and therefore we should not fear. It's easy to say that, of course, and particularly in a time when we've got the coronavirus and lots of people are feeling afraid. But actually, Jesus is quite clearly saying, "Do not fear. Do not be afraid. Come on the journey with me, and I will lead you to still waters. I will lead you through death into the glory of God, the life of resurrection." Sometimes I think, we're talking here about Jesus going ahead of us. Sometimes people perceive us anyway as being a bit dull, a bit boring as Christians, maybe. Well, I want to really challenge that here. I think Jesus is leading us into something quite new and quite exciting. And actually, if we're followers of Jesus, we're not stationary, but we're on this journey. And what does that mean when we're locked down? Well, I guess that's something we can reflect on this week. What does it mean to be following Jesus on a journey during this time of lockdown? So The service continues with intercessory prayers, that prayers for others and for yourself, and situations you care about. Just pray for anything you want to. I make some suggestions. You don't have to use those. The Lord's Prayer, another hymn, This Joyful Eastertide, and then that blessing. So I hope you have a blessed day this Sunday, and I will be praying for everyone at Central Methodist Church. Goodbye.